Yeah, it started.
Okay. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। जीवन के संघर्ष में तड़पन है दिन रैन, मेहर सुमिरन के बिना नहीं पाऊंगा चैन। तो गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए। जग से मोह न मोड़िए, जग से मोह न मोड़िए, पर उसमें ना खोइए, पर उसमें ना खोइए। मोह वासना त्यागिए, मोह वासना त्यागिए। निजी काम न छोड़िए, निजी काम न छोड़िए। हंसते रहिए सबसे मिलिए, हंसते रहिए सबसे मिलिए, और जय बाबा बोलिए। गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए। संचय उतना कीजिए, संचय उतना कीजिए, लालच में ना खोइए, लालच में ना खोइए। जीवन पथ पर जाइए, जीवन पथ पर जाइए। मेहर सुमिरन कीजिए, मेहर सुमिरन कीजिए। प्यार दीजिए प्यार लीजिए, प्यार दीजिए प्यार लीजिए, और जय बाबा बोलिए। गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए। भरम पटल को तोड़िए, भरम पटल को तोड़िए। शाश्वत जीवन पाइए, शाश्वत जीवन पाइए। सत्य ज्ञान अपनाइए, सत्य ज्ञान अपनाइए। परमानंदन पाइए, परमानंदन पाइए। मधुसूदन बस मेहर गाइए, मधुसूदन बस मेहर गाइए, और जय बाबा बोलिए। गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए, गाइए सब गाइए, मेहर के गुण गाइए। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Very nicely sung.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice to have the words too.
जय बाबा,
Jai Baba.
you can.
Manu, I think, can I go? I'm going to share a story and then I'll hand over it to you for the quiz.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Jai Baba, everyone. So the story name is, He Says He Has His Nazar, Spiritual Sight on Us. The story is from the talk by Jack C. Small. Erich explained that at all times, Baba has his gaze on us, out of the corner of his eyes, as it were. He is always aware of us, but he doesn't necessarily have his full attention on us. But we should know that when things get so difficult, when the walls of the illusion gets too smooth to hold on to, at that time, he has his full gaze of love upon us. When we have nowhere to go, no place of solace, no refuge anywhere in the world, then He has His full attention, His full love on us. At this time, if we take the opportunity, we can experience His love because there is nowhere else to go for comfort but to Him. This is a lovely story that expresses this. Erich explained that at one time, Baba was giving darshan to a small group of lovers in Mandali Hall. It was a very nice, intimate program which included a musical performance. One young woman had her little baby with her, but the baby was squirming and the mother was very uncomfortable trying to hold the baby quietly. Baba indicated that the baby should be allowed to play freely. That made the mother happy. It crawled to different people and played with them. Then it crawled to Baba too and played with him a while. Then it moved along. Baba had his gaze out of the corner of his eye on the baby. But still he was involved with everyone else, with the program and the music. It was a very loving atmosphere, so much so that the mother forgot about her baby. Gradually, the baby started to go over the threshold of the door and was about to fall outside and hurt itself. At that moment, Baba turned and looked at the baby, clapped his hands, and pointed to the mother to get the baby before it fell. The mother ran and grabbed her baby, which started to cry and get excited because it was being taken away from what it wanted. Gradually, it quieted down and became happy again. Then Baba gave this as example of what he means when he says he has his nazar, spiritual sight on us. He said, I allow you all to play and go on your own way, but I won't let you destroy yourself. Like the baby, I allowed it to play. It came to me, left me, and played about, but I was always aware of it. Jai Baba. That's the story I wanted to share. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai Baba.
So, anyone else? I'm asking Mr. Dan, do you want to share something?
I can't think of anything right now, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
So now the Bhanu is going to give us a quiz. We are going to have really good time. So Bhanu, I'm handing over to you now.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. See it? Yep. Can you see the screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
So, Viju? Yeah. So, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So for the quiz, I thought it would be fun to do a new life topic on new life and also books about Baba. So here we go. So the format is simple. It's going to ask a question and then the next page will reveal the answer. So, I mean, anybody can go at it. So the first question is, when did the new life begin?
1949.
October.
16.
Very good. So
Let's
Chris
stop
and Ann
now.
are probably gonna.
Can we cheat Bhanu here?
Yeah, please feel free. So the answer is October 16, 1949. I'm pretty sure most of you folks know about the new life, but this is where Baba told all of his disciples that he's never going to see them again, and he's out in the new life with 20 disciples, 4 women and 16 men disciples. So this is a picture of Baba taking Bhiksha during the new life. Can you see the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, great. So next question. That's the New Life Caravan Right now it's at Mehrazad, and you can see the New Life caravan here as well, which was used during the New Life phase. And a fun fact, they used to have a lot of animals during the New Life, and Mani later, after many years, she kind of put all the puzzles together because the animals included a camel, a cow, basically the animals representing different religions of the world. Kind of interesting. So the next question was, who was the only Westerner to join Baba in the New Life?
Dr. Donkin.
That's absolutely correct. So Dr. William Donkin was the only Westerner chosen by Baba to accompany him during the New Life. So those are some of the pictures of Dr. Donkin, originally from England. He's a Britisher, but he joined Baba as a doctor, and he all the way till 1969. Great personality. And I think for folks who have been reading the Sheila's book, gosh, what's the name of it? Growing Up with God. It has a lot of details about Donkin. Very interesting perspective of Dr. Donkin. Okay, so going to the next question. Who were the 4 women disciples to accompany Baba in the New Life? Any guesses? Yes, Mehra is one of the women disciples.
Money.
Mani is correct.
Meru.
Yes, that is correct.
And who's that?
And
Gohar or? I don't know.
that is correct. Gohar is the 4th woman. And if you guys can identify the persons in the picture, I'm sure Mehra and Mani, most folks can identify. I guess going from left to right, do you guys want to go and identify the folks? The names are not in order with the picture, so any guess?
Yeah, from left to right, Meru and Mani and Mera and Arnavaz, Dr. Gohar, and it looks like Vilu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't pretty sure about the last person, but yep, those could find a picture of all of these. Okay, going to the next one. I am sure some of you must have come across this story, but during the New Life, during the training phase, there was a particular person from the New Life who was sent back because he broke an order of the New Life. So the question is, who was sent back from the New Life for breaking a New Life order and was asked to live the New Life at his own place? So this particular person was sent back by Baba, and he had to go back to his hometown, and he continued begging for his food like they used to do New Life, and his family eventually got him out of the house because they were a very well-reputed family. But he nevertheless, he continued with his New Life, and many years later, Baba told him that he's going to meet him and come to his house one day. And when he saw this person after a few years still begging and away from his home, he said, "You have carried the New Life 100% even though away from me, and now you are free to go to your house." And their family accepted him because he said like he's no longer begging for the food for Baba.
So that was Daulat Singh, I think.
That is correct. So Dr. Daulat Singh was, I think he'll remain as one of the most remembered person of the New Life because of the incident that occurred. And eventually Baba did visit his house. I don't remember the city, but I remember it being Secunderabad, but he eventually visits his house. But that's correct. It's a very interesting story. Okay, anybody would like to read the question? Oops.
October 16th, 1950.
Was it?
Okay, so yeah, so that probably
Okay. Yeah, I know the first question there. Let's see.
okay. So just going back, on what day did Baba step back into the old life? For only one day, Baba gave a discourse on this day, which came to be known as the Baba sermon in the Baba community. Of course, the answer was revealed accidentally, but there's an interesting audio from Irich that explains why Baba would necessarily go back one day to the old life, because he had a certain issues to be resolved within his community, Baba community, like promises he has given. So he had to resolve them. And for that one day, he had to step back into the old life. And that is the exact day that Pukar, if you have read the story, actually becomes a Baba disciple on that particular day. And this is not a question, but this is a phase of the new life called the Manonash phase, which was carried in a cave in Kojaguda, Hyderabad. These are some pictures from Hyderabad. It's a pretty upscale area right now, but this is the Manonash cave. Okay, anybody would like to read the question?
Where did one of the last legs of the new life occur when Baba and the Mandali rested for the night where the famous pigeon incident occurred? Baba asked his companions to hit him with shoes and to spit on him as a punishment to his intended cruelty against the pigeon. And anybody know where that was? That was the mosque at Imampur, not too far from Mirazad.
That is exactly correct. Oh, no backbenchers today. So yes, that incident occurred in the Imampur mosque, where Baba asks Irich to take away the pigeon which was making noise when they were trying to rest. And as Baba orders Irich, and Irich tries to grab the pigeon and throw it out of the mosque, Baba reminds him that one of the order of the new life was not to be cruel to any human or any animal. And then Baba asks Irich to remind him the next day morning about this incident. And 4 of the companions were with Baba at that time. And the next day morning, Baba asks them as a punishment to spit on him and beat him with his shoes as a punishment for this. So yeah, that's the mosque, a few miles away from Mirazad. And from Imam, this is not a question, but from the Imampur mosque, Baba and the Mandali settled on top of the seclusion hill for a few days, which was the end of the new life. All the way from Manonash cave, actually in Hyderabad, after the Manonash phase, they walk all the way through the Deccan to Imampur and finally to Mirazad. And finally, Baba and the Mandali come down to Mirazad. That's a picture of Mirazad. And as the end of the Manonash phase, Baba had Irich. Anybody would like to read this?
I can read it.
Sure.
Baba had Erich write on a piece of paper, all rites, rituals, and ceremonies of all religions of the world are hereby consumed in the flames. Baba concluded the Manonash phase by lighting a duni in Mirazad. He had Erich read out what was written and threw it in the duni. The duni ashes were collected in tins and ordered by Baba that no one should ever open or use the ashes. The tins were later taken to East Room of Mehrabad. Very interesting.
So for this next round, it's pretty simple. So these are books of Baba. All you have to do is guess the name of the book.
God speaks, right?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. It's
Okay,
God Speaks.
okay, good.
Next question.
Discourses.
Very good. Yep, that is the Discourses.
That looks like the 4-volume set.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That could be a trick question, but if you're familiar, go for it.
Again, discourses.
That's absolutely correct. This is again the Discourses, which was compiled to be in a single volume instead of the 4-set book. Baba. Anybody want to guess the book name or know what book this is?
Everything and the Nothing.
That's absolutely correct.
Photo.
The Everything and the Nothing.
Yep, photo by Ralph Jackson, who lives in Texas.
Oh,
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Chris, do you know who compiled this book?
It was Baba and Mandalay put it together, I think.
Okay.
It's
Don Stevens.
could be Don Stevens. Yeah.
It was Sufism oriented.
actually,
Okay.
one thing I remember about this book, I think I remember it. It was not Sufism reoriented, but it was put together from talks Baba gave in Australia.
It certainly could be. Yeah. There.
Okay.
Yeah.
These books were different messages that Baba gave at different times on different tours. So yeah, that may be what it was that Australian.
So there is another book called The Nothing and the Everything. Is anybody familiar with that book?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know who wrote it for the sake of the audience?
That one's by Bal Kalchuri, and it's points that Baba gave. I was just reading about this today. This is how I know this. That points that Baba gave to Bal during some of those night watch times in the later years. And Baba said that that book, The Nothing and the Everything, that he dictated to Bal was the other 10% of the original book that he wrote in 1950. The other 90% was in God Speaks.
Yep. Thank you.
Mhm.
The next question. This came out recently, I think within the last 10 years, I think. Anybody can answer except Chris and Anne.
Infinite Intelligence.
Very good. Yes, that's absolutely correct. It's Infinite Intelligence. And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but basically what I gathered on this was after Baba dropped his body, there was a briefcase stored in, I think like a go down close to Mera Azad. And in the briefcase, they found all of these papers, not in Baba's handwriting, but based on the content, there's a very good correlation with Baba's material, and many years passed until they could finally compile this. That's not a flag, that's a book.
Beams.
Yep, that's Beams. Do you want to try the full name? It's straightforward.
Beams from Mera Baba on the Spiritual Panorama.
Probably it would say that inside, I think, but this is what I found in on the cover. But yeah, great going.
That was not me.
So any guesses here?
I think I know the name of this book.
Oh, okay. But you can answer though. But the clue is in the picture.
Star of Infinity or something like that.
No, it's not a star.
Sparks of Truth, Banu.
That is correct. It does have a spark in it. Chris, you want to give it a? I think it just says sparks from Meher Baba. Yeah.
That's a hard one.
So
Is that Listen Humanity?
yes, correct. Listen, humanity. I think that was the last one. Yep, that's it.
Jai Baba, thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Banu.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Banu. It was really good that we could know a lot of things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
I think Chris and Ann that hands down.
Oh, I think that's your mom as she joined.
Jai Baba, everyone. Yes.
Jai Baba auntie.
Jai Baba, auntie.
Where's Uma?
Jai Baba, Krishan and Jai Baba.
Uma.
Still dark for us, so I'm still in bed.
Okay,
Oh.
she's in India. Yeah. Okay, so now our next segment will be the talk from Mr. Mohan Kher, my uncle. He's going to talk on Baba.
Thank you.
I will hand over it to him now.
Jai Baba, everybody. I hope I'm audible to you.
Yes,
My greetings to all of you and special thanks to Rajeshri and Prasanna for organizing this wonderful little program on the occasion of Baba's 127th birth anniversary. We have to make do with these kind of online gatherings nowadays because of the COVID situation. Hope Baba takes us to the next phase and we are able to meet face to face. Many of you have come into Baba's loving embrace, maybe through your parents, through acquaintances, through your own search for the truth. In my case, it happened through my parents. My parents and my uncle Nana Kher, as I told you, were very closely connected to Baba and his work. And as a child, it was my good fortune to have his darshan in Guru Prasad in 1960s. I remember him as a child. I was a child of 5, 6, 7 years. I was there also in the East-West gathering. And I clearly remember the rains that happened that day in November of 1962. I remember bowing down to Baba and our little family meeting Baba at that time. But I will skip some of my personal stories to tell you about many other stories which have a flavor of what Baba and his life was. As I grew older, I read Baba's books and was immediately struck with the authority and power of his simple yet profound message. I started taking interest in Baba's discourses. It was difficult at first, but later on with repeated reading, I then realized that what Baba says is really simple if you surrender to him and then we try an honest effort to understand. For those born after 1969, when Baba dropped his body, Baba's Mandli was one of the major, link through which we could intimately, though I had the good fortune to see Baba with my own eyes, still, it was very helpful that the Mandali, Eraj Kaka, Padri Kaka, Pendu Kaka, Madhusudan, Dr. Gadekar, Niranjan's father, everybody, Dr. Don Stevens, these people were still around. Unfortunately, many of them are not now. And through them, really, we came to know the intimate details of Baba's life. And because of my uncle Nanak Kher, I had a personal interaction with all of them. I was really, really very good. It was really a good time. There used to be, and many of you will remember the for Eresh Kaka relating stories in the Mandali Hall, I think. Those stories and the Baba's discourses made a great impression on me at the time. I was impressed with the many sacrifices the Mandali and others lovingly made in Baba's cause. Meher Baba worked for us and suffered for us physically and mentally. But that suffering was made evident by Mandali's love, because we did not see Baba's work, Baba during his active phase. We saw him as a child, but we did see the Mandali and could interact. And through their love, we could connect with Baba in a most intimate way, I would say. So I will share what impressed me most, what stories made a deep impression and still make an impression on my mind. Baba has said, I have come not to teach, but to awaken. These are the most significant words Baba uttered just before he started his silence in 1925, which you know that he maintained for 44 years, almost throughout his active life. And this sentence that I have come not to teach is engraved in his Samadhi also. And it is the most significant sentence that he has uttered in his own, with his own tongue, just before he started his silence, or a day before, when one of his disciples, Pandoba, asked him that, Baba, how will you teach the world? You are a Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru means you are the teacher of the world. And how will you teach if you don't speak? And then Baba uttered these words. They were very prophetic words. This means that Baba does not want us to teach us anything. He is not interested in teaching us anything new. He said also that whatever teachings I gave in my past advents are not being followed today. I have come to awaken love in your heart so that my teachings given by me in the past becomes a living example through my lovers and their actions. And that living example is what we saw in the Mandali's lives. And all of you, many of you have seen. Those who have not, particularly those who were born after 1969, like Rajeshri, for instance. Thus, Baba gives stress on awakening the heart through love rather than teach the mind. Mind learns the ways of the world through a process which is, a dividing, then analyzing into smaller parts, studying the fragments. This is the process of reductionism, we can call. Science mainly works like this. Through modern science though modern science also has come to realize the limits of reductionism. Baba says that the same process cannot be applied for understanding God. As God cannot be divided. He is indivisible. We can know him only by uniting with him through our love. Hence, love needs to be awakened in our hearts. Mind divides and assigns a price to each and every part and compares it with the price assigned by another mind. Thus, a new price is discovered in the bargain, and thus all the exchanges of ideas and things happen. The exchange can be of an intellectual ideology, or it can be a financial transaction or a material transaction. There is always an element of division, comparison, bargain, all things that mind perceives. Heart does the opposite. It tries to unite through love. So this is what Baba said, and he has demonstrated all what he said if you see his life in many incidents which carry the fragrance of these discourses. So the discourses come alive through his life, actually. So Baba and many of you, I have seen, many of you might have heard this story which Eresh told. And actually the story was related by Baba to the Mandali. And this is the story of Behlul, and which brings out the divisiveness of mind and the bargaining and how that bargaining doesn't help us. How much time, Rajeshri, I have so that I can fit whatever I want to say in that time?
Yeah, so how, now it's 6:50. I think we have time until 7:30. So, but
Okay,
before we have to do prayer, Aarti and Mehardun. So,
so I should be around 6:20, 6:50, 7:15, 7:20 should be okay. Up to 7:15.
good. So we can do that.
Okay, okay. So this I was talking about the story of Behlul, which Baba himself related, and it's a very interesting and very beautiful story, and it has made a deep impression on my mind. Once upon a time, Baba told that there was in Persia a king. His name was Behlul. He was a king in the tradition of saintly kings, and Behlul's love for God increased to such an extent that to all outward appearances, he could not perform his royal duties and started roaming the streets of his own capital. In short, he became like a muss. Initially, his ministers would follow him wherever he went and hold the darbar, even on the streets. But after some time, the situation became impossible, and the ministers chose his younger brother as the king, new king. Behlul could not care less. He continued this wandering in the street, and people started treating him as mad. And children started following and throwing stones at him. A small circle of his relatives and friends, however, treated him as a saint and respected him. And the queen was one of them, though not the king. It so happened that the queen and her friends had gone to a beach to enjoy the scenery. There they saw Behlul sitting on the sand and shaping the sand into various structures, as children like to do. The queen asked Behlul, "What are you doing?" Behlul said, "I am building palaces in heaven." The queen spontaneously said, "Behlul, why don't you build one for me also?" Behlul said, "Yes, I will, but you have to pay the price." The queen said, "What will be the price for my palace?" Behlul looked at her and said, "Give me your necklace and I will build the palace for you." Without thinking, the queen removed the necklace and gave. Behlul loosened all the diamonds and started throwing them one by one into the sea. After all stones were thrown, Behlul told the queen that her palace is now built and she can now go home in peace. The queen then returned without giving another thought to her lost necklace because she had a deep faith in Behlul. After a few days, the king noticed that the queen was not wearing the necklace anymore. The queen recounted, and the king asked naturally what happened. The queen recounted that he had whatever happened with Behlul. So king got very upset and angry that the queen should give an credence to such a mad Behlul. A big fight ensued. Just hold on. A big fight ensued, and then Behlul and then king and queen, they were no more on speaking terms, and they started a sort of a cold war between them, and they started even sleeping in different cabins, and this went on for quite some time. And one day, a few days after this incident, the king had a dream. When he was sleeping, he had a dream, and in that dream, he found himself on the streets of heaven. And in the heaven, he was trying to find out where his palace was. And he searched and searched, and he could not find his own palace. After a long time, what happened? That king, he suddenly saw his own queen standing in the entrance of one palace. So naturally, he thought that this is my palace. So he started entering that palace. And the queen said, "No, you cannot enter here." And the king was very, very frightened and shocked. he said that, how can you say that? And the queen said, no, no, in heaven it works differently. You have to have your own palace, each to his own palace. And remember, Baba was telling this story with all his animated gestures. And he was a very good storyteller. That's what Tairaj has told us. How fortunate people would be who heard and talked to Baba in this way. So Baba is describing this scene that the king is frightened. And then at the moment that the queen tells that you can't enter, the king, at that point of time, he gets up from his dream. And he is all perspiration and he is frightened. And he, as soon as he gets up, he remembers the queen and goes to her cabin for the first time after so many days and wakes up the queen. The queen says, what happened? And then the king relates his dream. And the queen mischievously smiles. She says, you were so high and mighty, and now what happened, you see? And but the king is not pacified. And he says, no, no, call Behlul immediately. I want my palace in heaven built. So then a search party is sent, and Behlul is located in somewhere in the streets. He comes and the king makes him sit with all respect for a change. And then he says, oh, wise Behlul. He was a mad Behlul, you see, but now he becomes a wise Behlul. Oh, wise Behlul, please build me a palace in heaven. And Behlul says, no, you have to pay the price. And the king is ready for it. He is ready with his own necklace. And he gives that diamond, another diamond necklace to Behlul. And Behlul says that this is not enough. So the king now starts emptying his coffers, his treasure trove, one by one. And the whole thing, the whole of his treasure is put before Behlul. And Behlul is still not satisfied. Behlul keeps on saying more, more, more. And king becomes upset. And he says, what happened? The other day you built a palace for the queen just in exchange of one necklace. And now I have emptied my treasure for you. And Behlul says, even if you give your whole kingdom and cut your head, even that would not be enough for one palace in heaven. And the king is shocked by this answer. And he said, why is it so? And Behlul explains, it is because now you know the price of a palace in heaven. So that is the limitation of bargaining with God. We cannot bargain. But if we give with love for God, it is that gift from our side, however insignificant it may seem. Tairaj used to say that even insignificant things sometimes please Baba, because they were valuable to him, because they were out of spontaneity of love. When it came straight from the heart, that is what Baba liked. So this is the story which carries the fragrance of Baba's love, because Baba behaved exactly in the same manner with his mandali and with his lovers. So this I thought that I will share with you. Baba has said that he does not want to teach anything new. That's what he has said. So a few days after this story, I would like to relate something. Baba once said that I am perfect and have everything. What can you give me, which I do not have? No one could answer. Baba himself answered, you can give me your weaknesses. I do not have any weakness. Give them in a spirit of love and surrender. So what we can do is, if we are afraid, we can give him our fear. If we are ignorant, we can give him our ignorance. And then in return, he can give us courage and knowledge. Baba makes it easy for us. He comes to our level so that we do not feel his power. it is his compassion that we don't feel his power. Because if we felt his power, we will be fearful of him. And he doesn't want us to be afraid of him. He doesn't want us to be in awe of him. He wants us to relate to him at our level, at the level where our spontaneity will not be spoiled. Another quality of mind that we have and which Baba said that we have to ward against is giving back in equal measure. Be it insults, be it deeds or words, our mind seeks balance by giving back. We evaluate and measure, and then we give back, thinking that we will get even and be happy. Baba explains that this is a sure recipe for restlessness, not for peace. By trying to get even, we get bound by a chain of such actions on either side to get even. And this chain is endless. How do we get bound by this chain? Because we divide, evaluate, and try to equalize. There is no end to this, as every act of getting even gets us a reaction. So Baba says, how do you come out? Only way is to forget and to forgive. So there is a beautiful story again in Baba's father's life, which I would like to relate to you, which has made a deep impression on me. Baba's father, Shehryarji, owned a cafe in Bhawanipet area of Pune. That cafe, that building is still there. I have seen it. His father was a saintly person who spent more than 20 years of his young life, from age of 10 to age of 30, 35, wandering around as a fakir and in search of God. But at the end of that search, he got a divine message that he is not destined to achieve what he wants through his own efforts. It is through his son that he is destined to see God. And that's how he then settled in Pune, got married, and Meher Baba was his second child. So during his business, Shehryarji purchased some, he had one coffee shop, Shehryar Cafe, the name was, and he used to have tadi, that is the wine, it's a drink, and he used to have, it was a small restaurant sort of. And he purchased another shop. And that second cafe, he gave to one of his younger friends and colleagues to run, though he purchased it himself. And that young friend was running that cafe. And there was an unwritten agreement to share the profits of the second place. But this friend, though Shehryarji was very generous in nature and very trusting, whereas the friend was very greedy. And what he did, as Shehryarji started getting older, he started delegating more and more work to this young friend for the second cafe. And then one day, this fellow tricked Shehryarji, showing some documents for purchase. He actually transferred the whole of that shop in his own name with signature of Shehryarji, who trustingly gave the signature, thinking something else. And this way, the friend stopped sharing the profit with Shehryarji. After Shehryarji came to know, he asked his friend, why you are not doing it? And the friend said that the shop is no more yours. It is, you have transferred it to me. And Shehryarji was, his nature was such that he would have, left it at that. But Meher Baba's mother was having a very practical bent of mind. And he said that you should not leave him just like that. He has done a wrong and he should understand it. This is generally our mindset also. And Baba's mother persuaded Baba's father to file a case. And the case dragged on and on. Meher Baba himself supplied some advocates at that time. And the case, all the documents were in the favor of the friend of Shehryarji. And he lost the case. The judge remarked at one place that I know that you have been deceived, but the law demands proof and it is against you. So like that, Shehryarji lost the case. By that time, he had become old And at that point of time, Shehryarji wrote a letter. I would write to his young friend. The letter says, "My dear friend, what you did to me was not right, and you will surely repent it one day. I am getting old now, and when you do repent, I may not still be alive. Hence, I want you to know in advance that I do not hold a grudge against you and forgive you wholeheartedly. Hence, know well that I have already forgiven you, and hence there is no give and take between us. Whatever give and take is left now, it is between you and God." So this is the letter that Shehryarji wrote. The letter should be studied thoroughly for understanding the mechanics of impressions of or sanskaras that are exchanged in revenge or forgiveness. In revenge, you try to get even, but in the process of getting even, you create even more binding impressions. Whereas, when you forgive, you really get even and come out of the vicious circle of binding sanskaras. This story does not end here. As predicted by Shehryarji, after his death, the young person got old and suffered much in his old age. His wife remembered Shehryarji's letter and approached Meher Baba at Guru Prasad. She asked Baba for his forgiveness for her husband. And beloved Baba in his compassion reminded her about Shehryarji's words. And then Baba said, "I have already forgiven you in advance. That is what my father said. There is no grudge between Shehryarji and you." And then Baba pointing to himself, he says that I am that God which my father referred to, and I also forgive you. And saying that, Baba very lovingly embraced that wife. So this is how Baba demonstrates forgiveness in his own life, in the life of his father. There are many such incidents in the life of the Mandali also. One incident that is not there in Lord Meher, but I read elsewhere, is one incident is a very touching incident. Is from Baba's, one of his close Mandali. His name was Baidul. So Baidul ji was from Iran and was very poor and had 3 children to look after. Before he came to Baba, he was in Iran. His brother got settled in India and was relatively well off. Hence, Baidul ji sent one of his sons in India and requested his brother to look after him. Subsequently, Baidul ji wrote to Baba and joined him as his resident Mandali. He had total conviction that Baba was God, and his obedience was such that he was ready to lay down his life for Baba. He proved invaluable during the very tiring and long journeys of the Mas tours in 1940s. This was a very significant phase of Baba's life, during which Baba helped the God-mad people or Mas in their spiritual progress. And they in turn helped Baba in his spiritual work. Baba had endowed Baidul ji a very special ability to recognize Mas. As Mas are not normal people, they look like mad people. For us ordinary folks, they look like mad. Their behavior is like mad. Baidul ji also had a special inbuilt GPS in his brain. Like the GPS is invented now, but the Mas used to be found in very remotest place in India. There were no proper roads, all crisscross in the forests, in the jungles, in the on the hillside, anywhere in the remotest places in India where the buses or the roads were not there, the Mas used to be found, and he used to know where those Mas are, and he used to know his way back also during the travels. While with Baba, he came to Baidul ji came to know that his brother was treating his son like a servant and extracted a lot of labor from him and treated him in a cruel manner. Furthermore, he came to know that his son died during a physical abuse heaped on him by his brother. There was a very small incident in which the son had not done the work properly as per his brother, and the brother started beating his son. And the beating went on so mercilessly that the son died. And this the Baidulji came to know. And Baba was there at that time. And Baba asked Baidul to visit his brother in Mumbai. Baba gave him leave to visit him in Mumbai. Before going, Baba extracted a promise from Baidulji. He asked Baidulji not to get upset with his brother. He further asked to seek forgiveness from his brother. See the reverse logic. Baba asked Baidul to seek forgiveness from his brother, that I have reposed my responsibility onto you. He was my son, and it was my mistake that I asked you to raise him and help him out. And please forgive me. This is what Baba asked Baidul to do. Can you imagine in that situation what you would do? And then Baba further asked, will you be able to forgive him? And Baidul was very truthful. He said, Baba, I don't know whether I will be able to forgive him, but if you ask me, I will tell the message that you want me to tell, that I forgive. So if not in action, at least I will try and forgive him in my words. See the answer. See the truthfulness, see the devotion. And Baidul did exactly that. He went and repeated what Baba asked him to repeat. That is, I forgive you for giving my responsibility onto you. Such was Mandali's life. Mandali's life was not all roses. It was very difficult life. And one has to, really listen to them carefully to really understand what they went through, the kind of agony that Baba put them through. And at the end of it, you know what that particular Mandali member would say? No, it was not his cruelty, it was his compassion. That was what the Mandali was. That makes them stand apart from all of us, any of us. And that is why they never felt the thorns on the way. Baba once said, love is the gift from God to man, and obedience is the gift from master to man. The Mandali had both these gifts from God and the master. In turn, they laid their lives at the Baba's feet in surrenderance, which is so rare to see. Baba has said that surrenderance is the gift from man to master. And the Mandali could give that rare gift to Baba, their master. There are many examples how the close relatives of Baba Mandali got this rare gift of love from Mandali in a very natural way. There was no force involved in any of this. And this all happened spontaneously, as Baba would have liked. And this chain reaction is still going on. People coming into Baba's orbit through this kind of reaction. There are no miracles, there is nothing. There is only a free flow of love. That is what Baba wants. And this is so silently going on. And that's why, though it is silent, the chain reaction is going on throughout the world. And one day it will conquer the world. All of you know how Erach and Gulmai and the whole family joined Baba. But few people are aware that Erach's father, Papa Jesawala, he was a very high official. At that time, he was the inspector of the boilers and factories in the whole of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh region in the British India. It was a very high post, and he lived in a very palatial, lavish house, which was measuring maybe 20-30 acres of property. Such kind of lavish house Erach Kaka lived in with his father. And at a word from Baba, both Gulmai and Erach, they decided to join Baba. And Erach's father said that I don't believe in Baba, Meher Baba, but I love you. And if you are not going to be in this house, of what use that house is for me? It's of no use. So he also left that house. See, the Baba says that there is a saying that Baba has. That love is self-communicative. it spreads from those who have it to those who do not have it. That's the quality of love. And this is what we see in the chain reaction, that from Mandali to other lovers to others, like that. But unless we ourselves have this love, I don't think we can communicate it to our own relatives. Sometimes we complain that my son doesn't pray to Baba. Many of us complain that our sons, our daughters, our son or daughter-in-law doesn't pray to Baba or doesn't have faith in Baba. It is because probably we are ourselves don't have that depth of love in our own heart. And then if that love is not there, we are naturally not able to communicate that love. So Baba says there are many such wonderful, there are so many instances of close relatives of Mandali that come to mind. So these stories reveal that things relating to God are not to be understood through the mind and intellect. Someone may ask, then, if the mind and the world is of any use, then Baba says, no, the mind is very useful in understanding the ways of the world. The world is nothing in itself, but this nothing can become the means for us to evolve our consciousness. Now that the consciousness is evolved in the human stage, we need to understand that it has got trapped in the impressions of this nothing. This is explained by Baba in his book, God Speaks, which he dedicates to the universe. And then he says, this dedicated to the universe, the illusion that sustains reality. So this illusion is sustaining reality. See the words that Baba uses to summarize God Speaks in his dedication. Hence, there has to be a balance between the heart and the mind. Heart should be allowed to set the goal of life, and the mind needs to assist the heart in navigating the world while we struggle to achieve the goal set by the heart. Baba does not teach, but awakens love through such incidents. His love has a peculiar scent, a fragrance, and we need to first catch it and then follow it. Baba once gave a simile of a police dog. The dog is taken to the place and things associated with the criminal. And once he catches the scent of the criminal, it follows the scent and finds the criminal. Baba says, similarly, we need to do all such things which enable us to catch the fragrance of his love and follow this scent throughout our life. Baba's fragrance is very strong in such stories, at least I felt. It is also strong in places like Mehrabad, Mehrazad, Martle Beach, etc. We need to go there to catch that fragrance. This way, we will never get misled in our search for truth. Finally, I would like to say that Baba's universal work is to awaken his love and obedience in us. He awakened first his Mandali and then his close lovers. Through these individuals, we can catch this love and this obedience. Baba said, though divine love cannot be forced on anyone, it can be awakened through love itself. Love is essentially self-communicative. Those who do not have it, catch it from those who have. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, thank you so much for sharing these stories with us.
Wonderful talk, and thank you so much for sharing it with all of us.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohan.
Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Okay, so I think I would need volunteers here to do the Aarti. Who will do the Telugu Aarti?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay, you will do it. And Hindi, who is ready to do the Hindi? You wanna do it? Or how about American Aarti?
I could do that, or either that or the Australian Arti, either one.
Okay, no problem. You can do the Australian one. So, who is ready for Hindi then? No one? Okay, then we'll do it. All right, so we will do it Hindi, and Sujit and family will do Telugu, and Chris will do Australian Aarti. Okay, and before that we will do the Meher Dhun first, and then we'll recite a prayer and we'll do the Aarti. Okay, so let's do the Meherdun. You can sing. Baba, you cannot sing.
Rajashri, at the end, I would like myself and Anuradha has also come now. We would like to sing Marathi.
Oh, sure. You can do that.
She says hello to all of you. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Okay, so before that, we always do the silence. We will do the silence for 2 minutes and then we'll do the prayer and arti. Okay, Amog is gonna do the 2 minutes. Okay? You need to say start and finish. Okay, we'll do the silence. Okay, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Let's begin. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Okay, now Rukmini is gonna say a prayer here, or whoever wants to volunteer. Anybody else? For prayer?
Prayer in English?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Both the prayers?
Yeah, both the prayers.
O Parvardigar, the preserver and protector of all. You are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison. None can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible and none can see you, but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and you're also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the ancient one, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yazdan, Ahura Mazda, God Almighty and God the Beloved. You are named Izat, the only one worthy of worship. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Om Parabrahma Paramatma, Ya Yazdan, La ilaha illallah, O God, Father in heaven. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all your sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also, we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Okay, now we'll do the Hindi Aarti, Telugu Aarti, Marathi Aarti, and then in the end, Australian Aarti. Okay. I think Baba is hungry, so I'm offering him the food, and then now we will sing Aarti. Should I stand or this is okay? Yeah, this is okay.
जिसकी सृष्टि का निर्माण उसकी दैवी अनंतता कैसे हो अनुमान आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन नमो
अपना
शांति निकेतन
सब कुछ तुम्हें चढ़ाऊं, तुम्हें हमारे सांस हमारी बन जाए प्रभु गति तुम्हारी, हे करुणा कर लीलाधारी, कर लीलाधारी,
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। प्रियतम मेहर प्रभु की जय। नहीं आता तेलुगु आरती
या
तेलुगु आरती या
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। देवाधिदेवा प्रेम स्वभावा प्रभो मेरु बाबा, प्रियतमा मन सुहारति दे, प्रियतमा मन सुहारति दे। देवाधिदेवा प्रेम स्वभावा प्रभो मेरु प्रियतमा मनसुहारति दे ప్రేమ జ్యోతి మా హృది వెలిగించు ప్రేమ జ్యోతి మా హృది వెలిగించు కామ క్రోధముల మది తొలగించు కామ క్రోధముల మది తొలగించు దామను వీడక నిన్ను ప్రేమించు దామను వీడక నిన్ను ప్రేమించు మము కరుణించవయా ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే నీ దివ్య నామమే మదిని స్మరించు నీ దివ్య నామమే మదిని స్మరించు నీ దివ్య రూపమే హృది తిలకించు నీ దివ్య రూపమే హృది తిలకించు నీ దివ్య పదములే ఆరాధించు నీ దివ్య పదములే ఆరాధించు మము కరుణించవయా ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే అహంకారము హారతి కాగా అహంకారము హారతి కాగా ఇహమే పరమై ప్రకాశించగా ఇహమే పరమై ప్రకాశించగా పాహి శరణు సాయుధ్యము పొందగా పాహి శరణు సాయుధ్యము పొందగా మము కరుణించవయా ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే దేవాదిదేవా ప్రేమ స్వభావ ప్రభో మేరు బాబా ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే ప్రియతమా మనసు హారతిదే अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय
Thank you. Mohan Mama, you can go with Marathi.
हाँ जय बाबा.
Jai Baba.
This is Aarti written by Dr. C.D. Deshmukh, and for a long time this was the only Aarti being sung in front of Baba. मेहर बाबा श्री गुरु राया तव चरणा वंदुनी पावना तव चरणा वंदुनी प्रीतीची फुलवात लावुनी ओवाळू आरती अहम भाव कर्पूर जाळुनी अर्पी मन पुष्पा राजसार्पी मन पुष्पा ओवाळू प्रीतीने माझा श्री सद्गुरु राणा प्रेम सागरा ज्ञान दीप तव तेज शांत पसरवी अंतरी तेज शांत पसरवी रुस्नेहे उजळल्या पंचही प्राणांच्या ज्योती प्रशांत सुंदर मूर्ती तुझी मज आनंदे डोलवी प्रियतमानंदे डोलवी पुण्यदर्शने तुझ्या उसळती हर्षोनी हृदयी स्वीकारी सप्रेमे अम्मा तुझसी ही विनती सद्गुरु तुझसी ही विनती मम अज्ञाना दूर करोनी स्वस्वरूपी घे मेहर बाबा श्री गुरुराया तव चरणा वंदुनी पावना तव चरणा वंदुनी प्रीतीची फुलवात लावूनी ओवाळू आरती अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय.
Next one will be the Australian Aarti.
Chris.
Chris.
Okay, all right. Jai Baba. Oh, glorious, eternal, ancient one, your face is a bright, gentle, gentle sun. Lighten this dark world and the tears I weep. My heart there I give to you to keep. Creator, yet creationless you are. Truth and truth's body, divine avatar. Move through compassion, the three worlds maintains. Destroy this ignorance that life sustains. These five lights are the whirling strokes of breath of the wheel that bears me unto death. Unless you are infinitely kind, break the wheels of which is conditioned mind. This incense is my love, these fruits my heart, which to please you I have shaped from my heart. Accept them as you would a simple flower that has no use beyond its shining hour. You are myself, I sing to you in praise, and beg your love to bear me through the days, till you, the ever-living perfect one, illume my darkness with your shining sun. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Okay, thank you all for coming for the Baba's devotional program or satsang. So that's how we all celebrated beloved Baba's birthday today. And I cannot thank you enough. It's really nice that you could all join and enjoy the divine bliss. Thank you very much. Jai Baba.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
You continue to talk or have, chit chat, you can do that, but,
Jai Baba. I would like to introduce my uncle who has joined from India, Gandhi. He would like to say Jai Baba to everyone.
Okay. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
I know it's dinner time. Next year we will celebrate and we'll have dinner together.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Raji, for setting all this up. Thank you so much.
Why wait for birthday, Rajashri? You can have another meeting every month or so.
Yeah, because I'm talking about because of the COVID, let's when
Yeah, COVID, because of the COVID, we have every day here, every day meetings. So why not once a week or twice a week?
Not in the United States, though. We still are not meeting the way people are meeting in India. So we still have to wait for some time.
Plan something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Twice a month will do.
Rajshri, where are you in Dallas?
Yeah,
Texas?
I'm in Dallas, yes, Texas.
That's great. Nice Baba group in Dallas.
Yeah.
We miss you here.
Yeah.
Well, we really miss you too.
That's right. That's right.
We hope you'll come and visit us sometime here in Asheville.
Sure.
Share
Jai
Baba's
Baba.
grace. Yeah. We'll-
We'll do that.
Yep. You're very
Well
fortunate.
done, Rajashri.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan.
Thank you. Yeah.